he's guilty, there must be a by-election, in which case, why not stand the candidate now? Why not get it over with? I mean, the British people and the good voters of Clacton will think it utterly ludicrous if the establishment insist on a second by-election. And to add to the madness, they whinge about the cost of the by-election. So he said, don't worry about that. We'll pay for it. Oh, no, you...
Have you ever seen Westminster call for a political fight, only to hesitate when one is finally on the table? Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Richard Tice wastes no time accusing Nigel Farage's critics of spending weeks insisting a by-election was inevitable, only to lose their enthusiasm once Farage called their bluff. His argument is simple. If opponents were so confident in their case, why not let voters decide immediately?
Apparently,
as the debate heats
Ed
up,
Davey is now saying maybe we should stop this by-election
and becomes a wider
do they want a
battle over
by-election or not?
strategy,
Do they like
media
democracy or not? Oh
narratives,
no, we
and
suddenly realise, of course,
And
Andy
later in
Burnham
the
doesn't
interview,
like democracy.
Tice goes
Not
even
when it
further,
means that there
making
might be a
serious
general election. I mean, this
allegations
stuff's
about the handling
bonkers.
of
And Nigel, quite
confidential
rightly,
information,
is
claims
sick
that are
of the
disputed and become a
establishment
major point of
essentially
contention.
hounding him,
This is where the
trying to kill him
political
off.
showdown really
He's sick
begins.
of people like Sky News lying, saying they hadn't approached his daughter's house when they had, and now they've had to apologise and admit they were lying and they did approach his daughter's house. We're sick of all of this stuff.
Let's talk now, if we could, about Kemi Baden, of course, the leader of the Conservative Party. She said this afternoon this was a hissy fit, and Nigel Farage has decided he's above the law. Let's take a listen to what Kemi Baden said earlier on today.
We will be standing a candidate in the real by-election, which will follow the standards investigation. We're not standing a candidate in the fake by-election, which Nigel Farage is causing to distract people from what is happening. There's a lot that people are unhappy about. We're going to focus on getting Britain working again and showing some common sense, not throwing random by-elections out because we're having a hissy fit.
So she literally said he's guilty, even though they haven't yet reported. So she's saying he's guilty, there must be a by-election, in which case, why not stand the candidate now? Why not get it over with? I mean, the British people and the good voters of Clacton will think it utterly ludicrous if the establishment insist on a second by-election. And to add to the madness, they whinge about the cost of the by-election. So he said, don't worry about that. We'll pay for it. Oh, no, you can't do that. No, we didn't mean it, really. I mean, the hypocrisy of these people. And talk about the cost of a by-election. What about the cost of the staged Makerfield by-election to sort of lever Andy Burnham into number 10?
Chris Hope, it's an already astonishing day, and I think we've already had several plot twists in this past few moments.
I think I can't quite believe what we're hearing here from Richard Tice. A staged by-election. You fought that by-election with a proper candidate. Why is it suddenly staged? Because you lost. You're a bad loser. It's ridiculous for you to say that. I'm looking here at the history of the 2008 by-election in Holder Price and Howden, also triggered by the vanity of an MP. They're concerned about why they wanted back then it was David Davis, concerned about the issue there of Big Brother State. 26 candidates standing against David Davis. None of the major parties. The Church of the Militant Elvis, the Monster Revolutionary Party, Miss Great Britain Party, Make Politics History. This is the company which Nigel Farage will face.
Sounds like a competitive environment. That's a competitive environment. Bring it on.
You've been facing.
That's democracy, Chris.
The main opponent is bin face, and the bin face vote could be split.
Well, I mean, just imagine if the count bin face vote was split. You've got half a bin.
Hello. Now, do you have concerns that the government want to impact every area of your life? There was a time when the state did what it needed to do, took a little bit of our money from our income and provided good public services. And that was pretty much the remit. Not anymore. It can feel like we're living in an age of increased censorship, in two-tier policing. And this can also play into the freedoms that we have with our money. You might be worried that the government could debank you if your face doesn't fit or you say the wrong thing. So is there potentially a solution? I'm joined now by the founder and CEO of Tally Money, Cameron Parry.
You know, we've been in a just over 51-year experiment now with fiat currency, where our monetary systems that have been at national level haven't been anchored to anything. So there's no accountability in the number of units of currency that can be issued, because there's no asset anchoring it to anything. And also the people making those decisions don't bear any consequences to their decision making. And so they can arbitrarily inflate the money supply, maybe support fashionable policies that are at least fashionable in Westminster but don't make a lot of sense to people outside of that bubble. I'm not going to think of a couple off the top of my head. We need to have a choice. We need to be able to be in something else, because up until now, pretty much for all of our lives, we've had a singular state-run currency that we've relied on. Unfortunately, I feel for the last couple of decades at least, that reliance and the credit of that has been used up for purposes that aren't necessarily to do with our benefit.
Yeah.
Being the earner of the money. You know, I've already paid my tax. When my money goes into my bank account, I shouldn't be getting taxed more through inflation. And and it certainly shouldn't be in some form weaponized against me to, through debanking or through programming money and what I'm permitted to spend it on. Like, you can forget that for an idea.
Couldn't agree more. Cameron Parry, good to see you.
Thanks,
It's nothing worse than half a bin. Seriously.
What is going on? What is happening?
I tell you what's
Richard Tice?
going on is the establishment, they have been outsmarted, they have been sussed by Nigel. We're sick of it. We're sick of the hounding. We're sick of the law breaking going on amongst the establishment, including, it's been revealed today that the National Crime Agency, they have given copies of my company bank statements from two separate banks, private conversations between me and my bank managers. The National Crime Agency has literally committed its own crimes by giving all of those details to The Guardian, because they're trying to do us in, and we're saying we're sick of it, we've had enough of it, we're not tolerating it any longer.
OK, we'll have to get that verified from the National Crime Agency, of course.
Well, it's reported in the Telegraph, which is a fine paper.
We'll chase that.
Well, Martin, I've got the right reply there from the Nationals. We should maybe read it out. The NCA does not confirm or deny the receipt of SARs, nor comment on how any SAR is used. SARs are confidential, and breaching that confidentiality risk committing a tipping-off offence under the Proceeds of Crime Act.
Right, could I ask you, Richard Tice, because now the next stage of this, clearly the parties, the Labour Party, Conservatives, Lib Dems and Restore, are all pinning their hopes on the outcome of this Parliamentary Standards Committee into the George Cottrell allegations, the £5 million donation from Chris Hobb, and they seem to be deciding that that's a fait accompli. I want to ask you, do you think Nigel Farage has a fair chance of getting a fair hearing?
Not a chance. I mean, given that the Leader of the Opposition has already basically prejudged it, everybody else seems to have prejudged it, so they're basically forcing the Commissioner to make a guilty plea, and Nigel said, I'm done with it. Do you know what? Let's actually ask the good people of Clacton, not the dodgy people of the establishment and the two main parties, the Uni Party, who've broken Britain and don't want to accept responsibility for how you got to properly.
How does
fix
this
it.
help you in any sense? Nigel Farage will have the same inquiry by the same person in the Standards Committee when he comes back to Parliament, which he will in the autumn,
Chris,
and there could be another by-election. You're wasting our time with by-elections. Your party's gone mad. You're spending money like it's free. £230,000 for each by-election, £500,000 nearly if we have two of them in the space of a year.
Then
what is going on?
I'll tell you what's going on is there is a deliberate attempt to delay this inquiry for 6 to 12 months so that all you good folk in the media can say, oh, naughty, naughty boy, there's an inquiry overhanging your head, there's an inquiry overhanging your head, oh dear. Actually, he could make that ruling, he can make his decision in the next 2 weeks, and then actually we've got everything before the by-election. I mean, good games, quick game.
So
Bring
come clean, publish it all now. Publish every single payment of £300 in that 12 months before the July 2024 election. Publish it now and all goes away. Why
Are you suggesting he hasn't published it?
He hasn't. Well, we hasn't published information about the £5 million gift.
He's crystal clear that he has published everything in accordance with the rules. That is the question.
But that gift wasn't published by him.
Because in accordance with the rules, it didn't need to be. That's the point. That's the advice that he clearly received.
Right.
That's what's being adjudicated by the Commissioner. It's not that difficult. Get on with it, interview Nigel and make a ruling. A good game's a quick game.
I want to get your opinion now on Sakir Starmer. He's in a summit in Turkey, which no one was suddenly talking about because it's completely off radar, but he was forced to respond to the by-election today. We've got a short clip I'll show you in a moment's time, but ostensibly he said this is a stunt from a parliamentarian, a politician, up to his neck in sleaze.
will then rule on the supposed, in inverted commas, sleaze, make the ruling in the next couple of weeks, and we can all crack on and have a fantastic by-election. Clacton on Sea in August will be marvellous. Thousands of us there enjoying delicious ice cream. What's not to like, Martin? I can see you there yourself.
Well, we'll be there in a journalistic sense, of course. And another by-election where we can't talk about it, another purdah period, it's non-stop.
But the problem the problem Nigel Farage has got is his new pals in this by-election with the Church of Militant Elvis, Monty Raven Party, Count Binface, if they all stand as they did in 2008.
And I'm sure they're all lovely people. And the cowards who won't stand are the main parties who know that Nigel will beat them hands down.
Let's talk about the fact earlier on, Chris Obi spoke with Robert Jenrick, the first Reform parliamentarian to respond to this incredible news. He said something which struck me as noteworthy. He said this by-election is a referendum on the future of the United Kingdom.
What Robert quite rightly saying is Britain's broken, but we're the only party that call it out for what it is. The Tories, they broke it, so they can't admit they broke it. Labour don't know how to fix it, and they're actually making things worse. And it's only our policies on stopping the Potes, on detaining and deporting, on scrapping welfare for overseas nationals, and much besides, scrapping net stupid zero, and on our list of great policies goes, that can get the economy growing, get more money in people's pockets, and give some hope and some belief, and get proper law and order on our streets so that women feel able to walk down the streets of London wearing jewellery.
But actually, one final question, and that is very, very serious allegations against Sky News, of course, a competitor broadcaster. Might that constitute an Ofcom complaint? We complained to Ofcom about what's happened.
Good question. I don't know. That'll be a matter for Nigel.
I was going to ask you, Richard, last time you were here, we were here together. I asked you, where is your defence spokesman? I'm still waiting for the answer.
And I gave you an answer, which was Nigel's our defence
spokesman. That's not an answer.
It's a
That's the
great
leader.
answer.
It's ridiculous.
It's a great answer. And look,
it's not the answer. Who is your person, your defence secretary, your defence spokesperson? You haven't got one because you're not being serious. You're now fighting for votes with crazy parties.
I know you're trying desperately, but a party that's led in 350 national polls is a very serious party that is very keen to have a general election that will be ready for. Bring it on. You can't have a coup led by Andy Burnham, who's got no democratic legitimacy whatsoever. I mean, has everybody ever heard him speak about defence or foreign policy or economic?
So what does this entire exchange actually tell us? It shows just how polarized British politics has become. Richard Tice argues that Farage has called his opponent's bluff by forcing the issue into the open and challenging them to let voters, rather than Westminster processes alone, decide. Critics see it as a political stunt, while supporters see it as a direct appeal to the electorate. Either way, it has succeeded in dominating the political conversation. The most dramatic moment came when Tice made serious allegations about the handling of confidential financial information. Those claims were immediately challenged in the studio, with the presenter stressing they would need to be verified. That exchange perfectly captured the wider battle between political messaging, media scrutiny, and public perception. Meanwhile, the debate over costs, parliamentary rules, and disclosure requirements quickly overshadowed the bigger political question. Why has this by-election generated so much anxiety across Westminster? Whether you support reform or not, it's clear this contest has become about far more than one parliamentary seat. It's now a test of confidence, credibility, and who voters believe deserves to shape Britain's future. Now it's over to you. Do you think this by-election is a genuine democratic test or simply a high-stakes political gamble? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.